Good morning. Welcome to Going on Daily Live. I am Becky here with Miss JJ. Good morning.
Good morning, Becky. It's good to see you. It's been a
Yes,
week.
good to yeah, over a week. Yeah,
Over a week. It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It didn't feel like that. I feel like I was there with you guys because I was watching your show on Thursday. I was commenting along. It
It
was
was a good
good.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Miss
good
you.
show.
Hope you
Yeah,
had a good time off.
well, I didn't really have any time off. I've just been here doing podcasting. But yeah, just on different days, different
All
shows.
right.
Next week, I actually cannot do Thursday, so it will not be me with you next week.
Oh, and I was going to say,
Again.
it can't be me either. I've got
Oh,
a,
dang. Well,
but look, I'm a keynote speaker at an event in South Carolina with all the small business development centers, and they're 150 like coaches and counselors. So I
cool.
am excited about that.
That's very exciting. It sounds like you
Yeah.
really get around South Carolina in the business world.
In the business world.
Right.
Yeah, let's keep it G-rated.
Okay. It's G-rated. So no like edibles, no like CBD, THC drink.
No fun events like that.
Yeah.
And after the last Sober Curious event where, did I even tell you that part where when I was sampling and then I had to get up and speak that my tongue was numb?
Oh my gosh.
And I probably, if I do another one of those events, I might not partake before I have to speak.
I would say that's probably your best choice. Dang. So were you like allergic to something
I don't
or
know. It was
your tongue
interesting
high?
because we were just taking little like nips of different of the concoction. So yeah.
So you don't even know which one did it.
I don't
know. Which
know.
one made your tongue numb?
I'm gonna have to do another tasting for myself.
Yeah, you'll just have to have one night where you try one night where you try another.
Right. Or do like a whole
know.
can. You know, like we were only taking little pieces, little tastes.
Were they good though? Like the ones that you liked, they were delicious?
Some were like I'm looking at one can that I'm like, oh, that was really good.
Okay.
But there were others that were, I would say there were more misses than there were.
Really?
Hits.
Okay.
I just didn't like the, you know, that's that THC smell that's like really earthy. Like some of them that are supposed to be, you know, like a blood orange or, you know, some kind of or a margarita flavor. It just smelled like THC soda water, like, and it tasted like that. There was no citrus. There was no
I find
fruit.
THC to have like how do you even explain it? Like an ashtray kind of flavor?
Yeah, and it seemed like the soda, whatever the flavor was supposed to be, just masked that, but it just tasted like more earthy soda, but the smell, like you couldn't. The THC smell was coming through.
Like it's like dirty and greasy is the smell to me. I don't love it.
And then there were others that were that were really, you know, fruity and fun. That were good, and I would do those again.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't know if you can see in the comments here, Ron is having a little bit of a breakdown because chats are not working. I just logged into YouTube and Twitch while we were chatting. I wrote "Let's go" on both of them, so those are for sure working. Twitch, that was fast. That was instant. The only problem with Twitch lately on my phone, I think I must have to update it or something, is that it glitches. So I don't know. There's no like perfect system to podcast. This is what I've learned.
Well, and also with this one, we're in all channels. So we're lit up everywhere.
Kenny's here. He says we are getting lit. Off of what? Non-alcoholic beverages?
Non-alcoholic. I don't have my Sober Curious things.
So remind me again where you got those? Those were from the liquor store? Or
It
got
was.
them online?
It was from, a liquor, you know, beer and wine liquor distribution.
Okay. So I barely.
But it was in the beer. But it was in the beer and wine side, not in the liquor side. Like, well,
in the cooler.
You know, South Carolina, we have to have it separated, right?
Okay. That's weird. But
It
you
is.
guys can also just go to your grocery store and buy it, or like your 7-Eleven and get it.
So if it's on the one side, the beer and wine side in South Carolina, that means it could be on your grocery store shelves. You'll find them at some at Target. Yeah.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
I forget that here in
Alberta-
Canada, and South Carolina has like weird dry laws, We're still really strict about alcohol usage.
Interesting. So in Alberta, where I live, the liquor stores. So there's no beer store, there's no liquor. It's just all alcohol.
Right.
You don't get it from the grocery store. You don't get it from 7-Eleven, anything like that. It's open at 10 a.m. It's closed at 2 a.m.
Well,
So there's only an 8-hour period where it's closed.
you can't be filled up.
Exactly. So like you legally can't serve booze until 10 a.m. Like if you're golfing at a restaurant, whatever, you can't get anything till 10 a.m. But yeah, it goes right until 2 in the morning. Now, if you
gotta keep those people down.
Yeah, right. Now, if you go to Ontario, it's a little different. They're run by the Liquor Control Board. They've got a beer store, they've got a liquor store. Some places have both, but like on a Sunday, good luck getting booze after like 5 p.m. My husband, we went there for the first time a few years ago, and he's been in Alberta his whole life.
Right.
And so all he wanted to do was watch an Oilers game and have some beer, and he couldn't find beer anywhere. He like went to a hotel to try and get off sales. They wouldn't sell it. He went to the grocery stores, he went to the convenience store. He went everywhere. No one would sell him beer because it was like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
so,
well, that'd be South Carolina.
Interesting. I mean, like, I don't hate it. Like for me, you don't need to have access to it 16 hours a day, every day.
You just got to plan ahead. So my mother-in-law, who's now 96, but when my husband and I started dating back in the like 90s or whatever, and then when I got pregnant in the early 2000s, she's very Chicago Catholic, oldish, very old school. But she would, even when I was pregnant, she would, like, all the kids would come over and she was like, are you guys want your Sunday beer? and she would package up like a couple cans ready for anybody that would stop by on a Sunday to go.
That's cute.
The liquor stores are closed, and so you want your Sunday beer. So we always thought we need to make a beer brand called Sunday Beer.
Why don't you? That's cute. I love that.
We thought that would be amazing. Even when I was pregnant, she was like, you can take one. And I was like, Louise, I am pregnant. She was like, it's beer.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not handing you a martini. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Well, she sounds like a wild lady.
Yeah.
She sounds great.
She's
also. I don't know. Like, to me, I barely drink, so it's like if the liquor store's not open, it's like whatever. I know. But my husband was very angry, very, very angry. So, anyways, tomorrow. I'm just reading our chats here. I'm looking for the order of our show. I don't think we have it on here.
We don't
either.
have it. I was gonna say,
what is happening here, Ron? We have no order.
We don't have the order, and so we're gonna roll with it.
All right. Well, let's start with you. Let's go with the Blake Lively.
We want to do the Lively update.
Lively update. Yes.
Yeah. So have you been following it the last week or so?
No, I haven't at all.
So everybody, you got Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. They were in this movie. This Ends With Us. He's the one that bought the rights to the book. He's the one that developed the show. He was the director. The author of the book, the creator of the book, suggested he also should play the lead male character. So of course, he was like, I don't know. And she was like, no, you'd be perfect. You really get it. Anyway, all it's come out with that after it, released, people all thought the release was weird because there was a lot of, they never took pictures with each other. And then, fast forward a couple months, she's doing like a lawsuit of emotional duress and distress, and that there was a smear campaign against her, and the movie, she didn't get the attention she needed and wanted because of his smear campaign. And she was like, here's 30 texts to show the abuse that I had to to deal with, and it was an awful set, and blah blah blah. And
this is what she was saying.
This is what she was saying in her lawsuit, that she first kind of came out with, and she gave the New York Times kind of all the evidence of, here's all the text and emails exchange. See how he treats me.
And was it even bad, or was it like, hey, could you be at work on time today? Hey,
well,
cool.
yeah, and she's like,
attitude?
my husband had to come in and save the movie. We had to come in and save everything, and my friends, Taylor Swift had to come in and save them, the soundtrack, and I mean, so she say this is all in her claims, and then he countersues and says, no, like the smear campaign is on you. Like, you did that on me. You tried to steal my movie, and all your claims of sexual harassment and sexual emotional distress, that's on you, basically, crazy lady. Here's the 300 pieces of messages and text and emails, not just between you and I, but between me and the studio, you and the studio, that the studio released. And they're like, she only chose like the little pieces that made her look good, and made him look bad. He showed it everything in context, right? So, so of course this has been battling, out for months
now. Yeah.
And then, like a couple months ago, and I think we talked about this, then Ryan is like, hey, I need to be removed from this lawsuit. I had nothing to do with it. And Justin's lawyer's like, dude, you are all in this. Like, you came on set, your name is all in this. Your wife claimed that you rewrote scenes. Which, by the way, little side note, then the screenplay writer, right? Because most people don't realize that, movies aren't just made from the book. You have to have a really good screenwriter that crafts scenes so that they can fill in the blanks, but also to write it in the way that a director and a camera, like everything, like how is the scene going to play out? And so sometimes like a scene that might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes on screen is like 40, 50 pages of a screenplay. So it turns out that like this, after Blake and Ryan kind of bragged that they rewrote this like pivotal rooftop scene, that if it weren't for Ryan, that, he's so creative and he had to write the whole thing. So so Justin ended up releasing a letter from an email exchange between Blake and the screenplay writer, where she wrote to Blake after like the red carpet and said, I'm really disappointed to hear that you are basically calling my work shit, and that you guys claim to rewrite this pivotal scene. You guys, you rewrote 3 words in 1 line.
Wow.
Of a 40-page document of a screenplay. You didn't affect it that much. You changed 3 words in a line. So it's just, and then Blake's like, one of those no apology letters. It was more of those, oh, I apologize that you found out that I said that on the red carpet. We all work together. Yeah. No, Kenny.
Absolutely not.
So here's the latest. So after, Justin was trying to get out, like, basically, that's my wife. Take her, please, get me out of this lawsuit. And the judge and the lawyer was like, no, you're all in this. You're a part of this, and you will stay a part of this.
For Ryan to just throw his wife under the bus like that too. He's like, I'm done with her crap today.
It's like, you're in this. And so since, her whole claim was, you did a smear campaign on me and I want, whatever it is, $500 million
Oh,
for emotional distress.
okay.
So of course, Justin's legal team is like, okay, show the evidence. You've not even shown the evidence where you were even harassed or that the set was even a bully set. Like all the evidence that's come out has been that Blake and Ryan were the bullies on the set, or that really the only kind of critique that people have had on Justin is he was too nice and he clearly let Blake walk over him, that he really didn't set boundaries. He was too kind, too nice, and she took advantage of him. That's what other people on the set are kind of how they describe the set. And they're saying, definitely like Blake is definitely the bully. But anyway, so they've been asking for months, like, hey, we need to see evidence. Like, show your medical records, show therapy sessions, show even chats and texts between you and your husband or you and your friends that are saying, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, show something. And so she, like a month ago, she said, her lawyer said, well, we want to make sure, can we put an injunction of if we release our documents, all this evidence, that it's only for the lead lawyer on Justin. He's the only person that can see it. Nobody else on the legal team can see it. Justin can't see it. And the only person that can see it on even Blake's team was their lead lawyer and the judge. So it's like the head lawyer on both sides and the judge were the only ones that will that could see and so the judge was like, fine, release. Like, you can't file a claim and then not have backup
with any evidence. Yeah,
you have to share your evidence. And so they won that injunction, I want to say back in like April. I mean, it's been weeks, like a couple months. So this week they Blake and they have pulled their lawsuit to go, we're keeping the claim of the suit on smear campaign. But we're going to take away and remove any of the emotional duress, stress, harassment, because we don't feel comfortable sharing any documents.
Oh, we don't feel comfortable. AKA, we don't feel comfortable. We don't have any.
We don't have any.
There are no documents.
Right. So, that's like been with all the TikTok sleuths out there. They're like,
oh yeah.
Is there, like, what is she trying to hide? And I'm like, she got nothing. She's not trying to hide anything.
Yeah, she literally can't hide anything. She's got nothing. This is crazy. Yeah, Ron is right. There are hundreds of actors that can do the same thing as her. For sure. She's sort of, she's done some movies, this and that, but she's kind of nobody. And then she married Ryan Reynolds and everyone's like, oh,
and she plays the same character. It's the same character. And
I've actually never seen her in anything. I've never watched a single thing she's in.
You're not missing anything.
No, I'm not missing anything. I don't know. I don't particularly care either way, but like this seems crazy. Like you're suing someone for $500 million because your feelings are hurt. Like you're literally in a rough, like,
also prove where your feelings are hurt. Your feelings got hurt only because he didn't hand over the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like a temper tantrum. She's like, I want it. And he's like, no, like I own this.
Ron,
like, sue you.
Ron's point is true. You've seen her. You just don't remember.
That's probably true.
Well, and also like, where she did some stuff like the traveling
pants
and stuff. She looks different. I mean, she's had a lot,
I haven't seen that either.
A lot of like, glamour. And now she only really plays that one kind of part. So, but that is the lively update. More like, it's still ridiculous. It is still, and even it's like, they just go and, oh, we want this to go away. But Justin countersued and was like, no, I'm suing you because I have proof that you actually did
And good
your
for him
campaign.
too,
You
because
actually did try to ruin and take my movie.
yeah. I mean, he's fairly unknown as far as like Hollywood goes, and Blake and Ryan are like a huge celebrities. So it's kind of like ballsy on his part to take him on, but I love it.
I love it too.
And so he should.
It's like, yes, fight for the the little guy. Yeah.
I guess the question is, why did they cast her in the first place?
Well, because I think she does fit the part. She probably said, "Hey, I'm interested in this." But yeah, it was, and to have a big name like for him, for his studio to get, they bought the rights to the book. They were like, "Who do we want?" And then, she's interested in it. I mean, that's a huge.
That's huge. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, it's been a fun week. I think that happened like Monday or Tuesday. She was like, "Never mind, we're not going to sue on this because we don't want to. We don't feel comfortable sharing our."
Yeah, we don't feel comfortable. Okay, like your feelings. You're putting this guy out. You're putting out the whole thing saying that he hurt your feelings, that he made it uncomfortable for you, but now you're not comfortable sharing. Like you look like an idiot. Honestly, you look dumb.
Right.
Do you need the money?
Well, and that's what the judge and the judge was like. And so if they first put the claim of, "Hey, we're going to pull the lawsuit, but if we change our mind, it's like with prejudice or without prejudice or whatever." When you do, and they're like, "We want it without prejudice." That meaning we want to come back. So if we change our mind, we want to file the suit again.
If we fabricate more information,
and so the judge came back and was like, "No, it's going to be with prejudice of you. Once you pull out, if you don't want to do it, you can't file again because because you didn't have evidence, you didn't want to share evidence. This like back and forth wishy-washy. I'm tired of it." So I'm hoping this thing is televised because the court date is scheduled for March of next year.
Okay.
We should do a live stream during the show.
Oh, that'd be so good. I need to get more up to date on this. I don't know. I've been like so checked out, I guess. Normally I follow all kinds of junk like this. So I probably
That's what I'm here for.
heard it in the beginning and I was like, this is stupid. Like we're not doing this.
I know.
And
it's so ridiculous.
It really is. It really is. Like you're a power player. Like at the end of the day, Justin can go on and disappear and you continue to be Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Like
you
who
could have
cares?
bought another movie.
Like go be on Deadpool. Go live off your millions of dollars.
That's right.
I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm mad now. I'm annoyed. Okay, let's talk something exciting like hockey. Yeah. I know you are a South Carolina Carolinian. Your team got, well, I think it was North Carolina, but your Carolina got kicked out just this last week to Florida.
Was that the who was that?
Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes. Yeah.
Yes. That's North Carolina, right?
That would be North Carolina. They're in Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's Edmonton and Florida. So I could totally understand if you were a hockey fan why you'd be voting for Florida because it's close to you, although they did kick out Carolina. For me in Edmonton, obviously this is a huge deal. And this was the matchup last year. And we lost in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. And it was devastating. And the entire city was just like miserable after that. Now they're back again. And I read this interesting story the other day. I actually don't even know if it's true. So Ron, hopefully you're in the comments actively so you can give me your input and tell me if this story is even true. So this came out on May 29th. So only just a couple days. Yeah. Great game last night. 100%. I could only watch the third period, but it was awesome. Well, third period and OT. So it's saying that the NHL Officials Association, so the NHLOA, has announced that it will terminate and fine several U.S. referees $500,000 after they were found guilty of fraud in an attempt to rig a victory for the Dallas Stars against it. Now, if you go into any sort of comment section on social media about Edmonton, winning, everyone says, nope, Bettman will not let a Canadian team win. It's been, 35 years or something since a Canadian team has even won a Stanley Cup. And I don't know if I really get into that. Like, I don't know if the director of the NHL is saying, hey, Edmonton, you've got to take a loss on this because like it has to go to an American team. Like to me, that doesn't seem legit, but
Right.
anyways, so it's saying that the NHLOA has announced the termination and hefty fines imposed on several US based referees. The officials were found guilty of orchestrating a fraudulent scheme aimed at rigging the outcome of a game between Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, a plan that ultimately failed. According to the NHLOA statement, these referees conspired to influence critical calls during the game to secure a victory for the Dallas Stars. The scheme was uncovered following a thorough investigation prompted by irregularities observed by league officials and independent auditors. As a result, several referees have been terminated from their positions. What does I think NHL would want McJesus in the finals? I don't know though, because he's Canadian. The officials have collectively been fined $500,000. One referee is currently facing potential imprisonment as criminal charges have been filed. This unprecedented scandal has rocked fans and players alike, casting a shadow over the integrity of the league. Now, the NHL and the NHLOA have reassured
it
the
has
public.
to be gambling. Like, why would they
Yeah,
do that?
right. Maybe. Or does Bettman have them? I don't know. The NHL and the NHLOA have reassured the public that they are taking every measure to uphold fair play and restore trust in the officiating system. The league is reviewing all the past games officiated by the implicated referees to determine if any further action is necessary, including potential game reviews and sanctions. Now, I wonder if they go back and see that there was issues. Like, how do you go back and reverse that? Oh, hey, like we're just going to start over, like Dallas and Edmonton. That was like, like a round ago. Like, are we just going to go back and make them play again, and then hopefully, I don't know. Like to me, like I sent this to my husband.
How do you do? Yeah, retro.
Well, you don't really, and if it is true, like, yeah, Edmonton won anyway. If the whole plan was that Edmonton would not win and Dallas would win, but Edmonton won anyway, then is there really any like no harm, no foul kind of thing? I don't know. But out of precedent, obviously, like if this is true, there should be consequences for
the money. Who got
the
money? Who got the money? Yeah.
Remember, like, oh gosh, 25 years ago, probably, and maybe don't because this was happening to a Canadian team, but in the Olympics, there was a couple of figure skater judges that were cheating. There was like a big scandal, and the team that clearly should have won was the Canadians. It was a flawless pairs, but it went to Team Russia, who had falls during their Olympic figure skate, and everyone was outraged, and it ended up going to an investigation and finding that one or two of the judges were fixed, and they were I don't know, it was like a huge scandal. So it ended up being a shared gold medal between Russia and Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, Ron remembers it.
I don't remember that.
I want to say it was like
I wonder if that's what they'll do.
1998 maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, like as an Edmonton fan, we cannot pull this away from us. Not while we're so close. You should see it. The energy is insane. I said last week I'm gonna like send videos in our group chat so everyone can see how insane the energy here is. It's like everyone hates each other until it's hockey season, and then like everyone's each other's best friends all of a sudden, which is great. I'll take unity where we can get it.
That's right. A united team is better than any divided team, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just move along because I know my second story is going to be. It's going to be a lengthy one.
Or my next one might be.
Okay, good. We've got some lengthy ones here. Okay,
which mine might lead into yours.
Yeah, I think that's why Ron set it up this way. So we're talking urban legends here. Tell me more.
All right. So what's your favorite, like urban? I mean, you know, the supernatural. Is it are you the Area 51? Is it the, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the, Bloody Mary, Candy?
Oh, yeah, I don't like that one.
like what are your favorites, or which ones are you
Like
like
I am
you
down.
think are truly
I am
true?
down every conspiracy rabbit hole, like every single one. So to me, I'm like, I don't, like maybe Bigfoot's a real thing. Like I don't think it's like a person dressed up. Like maybe it's like because like they find giants in random
Right.
places on the earth, like Afghanistan has giants, Kandahar giants. Maybe that's just all it is. It's just some tall, hairy dude that wanders around. Like I
That's
don't
a
know.
whole like a family tribe that
Yeah,
has,
exactly. And then
because
they,
there's
as
always
they
that was like
reproduce,
there's always spottings here in South Carolina, up in like in North,
oh no,
the between the Carolinas, with like Black Mountain and some of, but yeah, there
interesting.
will often hear like, ooh, Sasquatch spotting. And I know in Rhode Island, like the New Hampshire and, Northeast area of the country, there's all sorts of spottings there. And I think Tony was
Really?
even saying, don't they have like a bounty?
Oh, right. Yeah, because he was saying he's
Or
like a ghost hunter, or paranormal hunter, or whatever.
yeah, and he was saying he can't, like, if he dressed up in a suit, he was like, because somebody might
Right. That's
shoot
what he was
me
saying. You
because
wanted to
there's a
dress up for
bounty on it.
fun.
But I'm a total Area 51. Like,
Hmm.
um,
Like
I,
we need to
I,
know what's going on.
like I think that there are aliens that they have caught. I think that whole story is true,
Hmm. And they don't want to tell us.
and they don't want to tell us. It's gonna. I feel like after, we'll find out. We're gonna find out.
I hope so.
But I like all um, but I didn't realize that like the Candyman and the Bloody Mary, where like it's all the stuff that the chant in front of the mirror,
Yeah.
and then they come through. Those were actually based on like
Stop on real things.
real things
No.
that got
Yeah.
like blown, and then
No.
over time that's how we became an urban legend.
Yuck.
Yeah, so it does make you like, or the one I told you about a couple weeks ago, like the boogeyman under the bed, and then
Yeah.
I looked under the bed, and there was somebody there. But the one that was, and this is something that is so funny. It must be a Southern thing, but you always hear like, oh, um, like the great potato, the great potato salad massacre.
Oh,
Have you heard
no.
that one? And I was just reading on it that I didn't realize it was a true. I just and it comes from truth, right? That you hear that the reason why you always keep your potato salad cold, when you go to a picnic, is because the Great Potato Salad Massacre, where they killed 200 people or something,
Oh, via potato salad.
via
Okay.
potato salad. But it was based on that was based on a true story that um, a husband, put his wife's potato salad in the back of his truck. This was back in the 70s. Didn't know that it needed to be refrigerated. Just thought he
Mhm.
was packing up for the Southern Baptist church picnic the next day.
Naturally. Oh, the next
And
day.
the next day,
Oh,
summer picnic, and brought that,
eggs and cream.
potato salad out, with the tables and the chairs and everything else. And he was like, everybody ate, and he was like one of the only people that didn't get sick was because he's like, I don't like potato salad, and he was like, I'm tired from having to, lug this around. So, but he got to witness 200 people basically not die, but all at the same time within like 30 minutes of eating the potatoes. All like, and some people were,
That fast.
um,
Oh,
playing games like kickball, whatever, and all just like crapping their
I was
pants.
gonna say, can you imagine? Because there's not 200 toilets.
No,
So is everyone just pooping their pants right there in front of everybody?
in front of everybody in their pants.
Oh no.
Some were trying to get in their car, and so they crapped in their car.
Oh my God.
But that was based on, I was like, I didn't know that was based on an actual true story.
So my mom did like a food safety training with her work, and she was saying, do you know that potatoes are one of the worst things for food poisoning? And I was like, there's no way, it's just a potato. But she's like, no, you can't just like leave out hot potatoes to cool because they get bacteria on them so quickly compared to other foods. So it's like
And
you
then
need to
combined
cook
with
your
the
potatoes and get them
mayonnaise.
in the fridge. Yeah. And then you add the egg, you add cheese, mayonnaise, whatever, cream on top of it. Yeah, it's like all disaster waiting to happen.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. What was your favorite? Like, what was the one that you were most afraid of? Because
Oh, I
you've
was
heard the Candyman, or like, did you ever go out in the woods with your like friends in high school or whatever, and then it was the hook man's gonna get you?
no,
None
never.
of that.
I do remember being in junior high or middle school, as you guys call it, and being in the girls' bathroom and my friends being like, if you look in the mirror, Bloody Mary, and they were like turning the lights on and off, and they're like, Bloody Mary, Bloody, and I was like, don't do it, you guys. We went to like a Christian school. We were just like, oh my God, the power of the cross.
He's gonna come.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. Even like, it's been 26 years since I was in junior high. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I should even say that in front of a mirror. Like, why test it out? I don't need to know. That one always freaked me out. Because what if it did appear? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Urban
Well,
legend or not. What if it did appear?
and that's what happened to
Mm-mm.
somebody in like a New York City apartment
No.
or whatever. That this is kind of funny that kids were playing that, and they because it was in front of the medicine cabinet, and they were the Candyman, get here, and then a guy came through the medicine
Stop.
cabinet, but it was a
Yuck.
handyman, like, because in these old apartments, the way that they would create, they would build it, that all like medicine cabinets would all line up back to back in apartments, and they would leave like I don't know, a very thin walkway so plumbers could take off the medicine cabinet, crawl through it, deal with all the pipes, and then
Ew.
go and then put them. So yeah, that would freak you out.
You would have major PTSD from that. There's no getting past a man coming through your mirror at any point.
At
And
any
it's just
point.
like the timing as well. Oh,
Right.
impeccable.
Or the looking under your bed for boogeymen,
Right. And
and
a guy being
and
there. Yeah.
somebody's there. Yes.
Yeah, no, you don't get past that
You
sort
don't
of
you
stuff.
don't live past that. Mm-mm. You're paranoid for life.
You'd have to be. You'd be an agoraphobic, but even then, these things are happening at home. So, like, how do you take safety in your house but not leave? What does Ron say? That was just in the news. Burglars are breaking in through medicine cabinets. So
It
this is still a thing, I guess. If you live in an old apartment, I
and
mean,
that's where they're going in.
no, thank you. I will live in my house with
Bloody
no
Mary, Bloody
secret
Mary.
wall.
But it's funny how there's a lot of those urban that are all in front of the mirror. There's like 4 of them. It's like Candyman, Bloody Mary, like something like something Charlie, like Charlie, or whatever. But it's you chant their name 3 times in front of the mirror.
No, thank you. My grandpa, he was an old British man. He was actually wasn't even not even that old. He was just a weird dude. And my brother and I would look in the mirror as little kids. And he would be like, if you look in the mirror too long, you'll see the devil's face. And so my brother and I would be literally scared to look in the mirror at his house. I mean, it kept us from it. So if his thing was to like, keep us away from the mirrors, I don't know why it worked. Charlie No Face, Ron is saying.
That's it, the Charlie No Face. And then he appears.
Yuck. I don't like any of these. Kenny says hiding under his bed right now. No. Why are you in bed right now, Kenny?
Where are you?
Yeah, where are you? Don't you work? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like true urban legends. I want them to be stories and stories only. I do not want any truth to come from them. Although you figure everything is sort of rooted in reality anyway.
Exactly.
Anything you see on TV, any video or any movies, it's all kind of based on true life.
It is. And it's you say that. So do you remember the movie Project X with Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt?
No, I don't.
It was an 80s movie, and it was based on, Helen Hunt was a zoologist that cared for monkeys, right? And she taught them sign language.
Okay.
And so she thought she was releasing her her monkey, her beloved little monkey, back into the wild. Well, her whatever boss lied to her and had sold it to a lab that does testing. And this lab, Matthew Broderick's character was like the I don't know, the handyman, the cleaner, janitor. He was like, I need a job. I'll take a job. I, work I work nighttime cleaning, this lab. And as he's walking through, they're like, oh, we've got all these like chimpanzees and like a gorilla and monkeys. And, as he's cleaning, it's like the whole story is the lab is testing, teaching the monkeys how to fly a plane.
Oh, okay.
With a nuclear bomb, and how long do they get affected? Like the pilots get affected for any radiation. How long can they survive? All that. So before testing, before doing anything on humans, they're kind of testing, that. And so he's noticing he's always having to like, when they get this collar on, they're gone from the cages, and I got to clean out the cages. And anyway, so then he realized this monkey was like a smart monkey that, was teaching sign language, was teaching the other monkeys sign language. And he and Helen Hunt ended up finding each other and going, you've got my monkey. And then he's a smart monkey. It was supposed to be in the wild. And so he was a, janitor. They, figured out, let's get the monkeys. You tell the monkeys what they need to do and figure out how to break out of their cages. And they all were released. And it was like 12 monkeys or whatever, 6 escaped, and they ended up flying a plane.
This sounds like a terrible
to the wild.
movie.
That's the movie. Movie reviews.
It sounds awful.
But the reason why I'm saying this is that happened here in South Carolina earlier this year.
Oh no!
That there's a lab in the Low Country of South Carolina. That's a testing lab for the government. No one really knows what they test for, but this town, like 48 monkeys, just so happened to get released accidentally by a lab worker, and 48 monkeys were released into this town. I think it's called like Chapin, South Carolina. So
wow.
Teeny tiny town. This is like the 5th time this thing's happened where we get like bombarded with all these monkeys, and then they have to put the release out of, don't touch the monkeys. But I was like, oh, it's Project X come true.
Right. When you said Project X, I thought you meant like there was like a party movie in, I don't know, 2012 or something that came out. That's what I thought you were talking about. So I had to look it up. It sounds terrible. Quite honestly.
It's
cheese.
It's an 80s movie.
Yeah. Kenny says it's before my time. True. I mean, I was born, but yeah, I looked too. Like Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt were just babies in it.
Right. Yeah.
They look like teenagers.
Classic 80s.
Yeah, classic 80s. Exactly.
But it just shows like, hey, but I was laughing. I was like, oh, Matthew Broderick's character, I just accidentally left this latch open.
Yeah, right.
Go.
You just see someone coming to visit, and she's like, yeah. And the monkey's like,
because we were laughing on the Facebook comments of the news story. It was, so if I find a monkey, can I keep it? And they were like,
right.
And apparently, yeah, you can. If finders keepers.
Oh, is that how it works for wild animals?
For wild animals,
crazy.
They're like finders keepers, because they're property of they're like finders, But yeah, they only captured half of them. There were still 12 missing.
Really? Oh wow!
But I'm sure people are like, my monkey now.
Yeah, there's 24 monkeys in someone's house. My cousins probably. They find the weirdest animals down in South Carolina, and like he had a deer, he had a possum, he had a goat, like just random animals. So he finds them and he brings them in. He had a raccoon. Like, yeah. So they were all probably hiding in a barrel. Stop that, Ron. Okay, those are very interesting stories.
Well, see, Kenneth's dad's from around here.
Oh, nice. Why don't you go visit, Ken?
I don't know where
Kenny?
Trenton, South Carolina is, but I'm gonna have to Google that. How
Great.
far away is that for me?
Well, it can't be too far. I mean,
Can't
South
be.
Carolina's not that big.
No, it's a teeny tiny state.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a look. Trenton. Let's look that up.
It's in the
right?
Low Country. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2 hours. 2 hours.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It looks lovely. Okay.
All right.
So let's get to this last story because it's going to take the full 15 minutes that we have left for sure. This is a wild story. Like I found it and I was like, there's no way I'm not doing this story. This is insane. So an American killer went missing. They found her in Alberta, where I live, in a town called Tabor, which is about 4 or 5 hours from me, a small little farm town. They didn't find this woman for like 50 years. So I will get into the story. I've got a few different articles that I'm going to jump back and forth to. So if it seems disjointed, it's because it is, but like not one article had all of the good information. It was like bits and pieces. So in 1960, a woman named Sharon Kinney was living as a board housewife in a small Missouri town. She was a mother of 2 and married to a Mormon man, a few years older than her. She was just young. Like she was, gosh, I don't even know, under 20, I would imagine here. And, she was bored, desperate housewife, she filled her time with shopping, as one does, and also extramarital affairs, as one does. She and her husband were, both looking for ways out of the marriage, but because of the time, because of the religion, things like that, they tried to stick it out, right? So what do you do when you're in a marriage that you don't want to be in and you're not allowed to leave? What do you do as a desperate housewife? You kill him, obviously.
Well, yeah. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah.
Poison.
So,
Poison.
well, this is a little more sinister. So there was a gunshot and then her husband was dead and she blamed it on her 2-year-old child.
Oh.
Said that her husband always let her kids or their kids play with his gun collection. Apparently there's a report where it says this child was like, "Daddy, what does this do?" And then she heard, and the next thing she knows, her husband is dead and a 2-year-old shot him. Now, like I've been around 2-year-olds. Like, would they even have the strength to pull that? I don't know. Or like load it? Like you just leave like a loaded gun lying around, a loaded handgun?
With a 2-year-old?
Yes. But then, like I said, she was conducting in extramarital affairs. She had a lover.
Of course.
Her lover's pregnant wife then showed up dead as well.
Oh.
So, police are starting to get suspicious, obviously. She ended up being acquitted for both murders 3 times. 3 times this woman got off the hook. She also had claimed to be pregnant. She had told her lover that she was pregnant. And he was like, "Oh, dang, my wife is pregnant." And then that's why, she killed the wife, right? Found her shot for
Like
gunshots.
the Lacey Peterson, instead of divorcing, just kill your pregnant wife. Dump her in the ocean.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's, I guess, the easy way out. I don't know. So like I said, she was acquitted for both murders, but then she would go on to kill again after she runs away to Mexico in 1964. Okay, meets some guy at a bar, brings him home, kills him. So obviously this woman is a little deranged, okay? I don't know what happens in Missouri to raise women like this, because you don't get a lot of women serial killers, right? That's sort of it's very rare, right? So at the time of this particular article that I'm reading was written, she was considered one of the longest missing felons in United States history. Now, this report was in 2022. So let's go to a different article here. And they've titled it, what did they title it? Needlepoint and banana bread. Okay, needlepoint and banana bread. So this woman gets put in jail in Mexico, right? She's serving
Now
jail
she's in a
for,
Mexican prison.
yeah, which I mean, you don't want to be in a Mexican prison,
Right.
that's for sure. But I guess America was like, no, we don't want her back. Like she killed 2 of our people. Like let Mexico have her, right? She eventually was tried for 3 murders: her husband, her lover's wife, and the Mexican man she met in the bar. That was between Kansas City and Mexico City. She got put in jail. But in 1969, 5 years after she got there, she escaped. This woman escaped prison and she disappeared. So the authorities were never able to track her down after her escape. Okay. So again, it's the late 60s. You don't have CCTV. You don't have the tracking software. You don't have DNA.
Right.
You don't have, you might have fingerprinting in photos, right? So just how long ago was this? In February. So this just happened like a couple months ago. At a news conference in February, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in Missouri said fingerprint records confirmed that this Sharon Kinney has been hiding in Alberta, Canada for 50 years. She just crossed the border and no one ever thought of her ever again. And so she went on to have like a pretty normal life. No, Ron, I don't think so. Anyone missing in Alberta?
Right. I was like, who did she? I think people need to be looking around her property.
I kind of feel like if you're killing people, like, okay, you killed your husband because, whatever, you might have been mad at him. You killed your lover's wife because you wanted to be with him, but then you killed some rando at a bar. So like, obviously you've got that bloodlust now.
Right.
So it's not like she just moved to Canada and all of a sudden she was like, fine. I mean, granted, we don't have the same gun laws that you do. Maybe she couldn't get access to a gun in Canada. So it says that her friends were shocked. So some of Kinney's former friends and neighbors had gathered for an afternoon bridge at the local senior center in Tabor, Alberta, when they learned the news. They said, I can't believe it, and I'm in shock. This is just insane. This is from one of her friends. Now, this woman had changed her name from Sharon Kinney. She was now D. Globus. Globus?
You could pick anything, and that's what you pick.
Well, it sounds like she had remarried a man, and his last name was Globus.
Or maybe
and he also died. He also died shortly thereafter. Now, it said from illness. But then she went on to marry again.
Yeah.
And I can't remember that guy's name, but she was married to him for like 30 plus years until he just recently died. Oh, no, maybe I can't remember. One of them died. So one of her friends said that she was a very talented needlepoint artist who once gave her a handmade quilt as a gift. Globus was also a food bank volunteer, often supplying them with homemade banana bread. The group of women learned that they all played bridge together, that she came to play bridge with us and liked it. And they were always anxious for players. So they were really excited when this new woman joined years and years ago. There's actually a picture of her. She just looks like a regular old lady. It's so funny. So it says that one of the ladies reacted to this bombshell news that her friend and neighbor was a convicted killer on the run from authorities. She says, how can you fool the whole world year after year? Now, this woman came to Tabor, Alberta, in 1973 with her husband, Jim. The two owned the local Tabor motel before working together as realtors. So it's not even like she was totally in hiding. Like she was out there. She probably had her face on park benches. And
she's going to PTAs.
Realtor. Yeah. Serving in the volunteer food bank and in the bridge club. People knew her. But I mean, if they don't know her as Sharon Kinney, they know her as Deanne Globus. Then, I mean, who would even think about this, right? The internet didn't exist in the 60s and 70s. But she came to Tabor in 1973. The bridge lady said that Jim died in 1979 at the age of only 38. And D. Globus, Sharon Kinney, was actually left out of his will and fought it in court. We all just felt sorry for her and wanted to help her. Now, according to the newspaper clippings at that time, her husband had died of complications of diabetes and alcoholism. Again, like, could you just be sneaking him alcohol? Could you have got him hooked on it? Could you have injected him with something? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe she actually really liked him. Maybe she really did turn a new leaf once she moved to Canada. I don't know. So a few years after his death, she remarried a man named Willie L. The pair were together for 30 years until he died in 2011, right at the age of 79.
Right.
So it's unknown if either of her newer husbands knew about her secret life or her criminal past. Let's see here. So at the Kansas City News Conference, officials thanked the Tabor Police in Alberta and the RCMP for their cooperation in the investigation. Canadian police were tapped for assistance in 2023 after the Jackson County sheriffs received an anonymous tip that fugitive Sharon Kinney was living in southern Alberta as Dee Glabus. It just so happens that someone had a tip and was not willing to release it until after her death. So she had died in 2023, I guess. And so someone knew and then decided to call. But it seems weird. Like, you would think you'd want to get this woman off the streets. Yes, she's a pillar in the community.
Right.
Yes, she's a lovely old lady making banana bread, but you think they would probably want to get her off of the streets at some point in her lifetime. But it says that he subpoenaed the records and was able to confirm the tip. Dee Glabus was, in fact, Sharon Kinney, one of America's most wanted. I always tell my kids, the truth will set you free someday, says her friend. Whatever you do in life, they will find out. And sure enough, everyone found out about Sharon Kinney. So this is interesting. I've never heard this until yesterday, even though I live in Alberta. I've been to Tabor. I've never heard this story. I guess I haven't been to Tabor since this all went down, but this was literally just a community member and no one thought anything of it. And yet here she is, serial killer, convicted serial killer. Crazy, hey? It's a wild story.
That is a urban she's gonna become an urban legend.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, what is it, the Black Widow? She is the Black Widow.
Yeah, honestly, she is. So, I mean, I don't know. Was she a psychopath? Maybe. Was she killing out of necessity? Maybe her husband was abusive. Maybe the pregnant wife was abusive. I don't know. Maybe the guy at the bar was abusive. This is starting to remind me of like Monster, you know, who Charlize Theron played.
Oh, I never saw that movie, but yeah.
Okay.
I know of it. Yeah.
Eileen Warwos or something like that. You know, she had it in her mind that every man was like attacking her. So she like had to kill them. So maybe this woman had it in her head that everyone was attacking her and needed to kill them out of self-preservation or self-defense. So I'm not really sure. Either way, crazy story.
That is insane.
Yeah, I thought it was wild. I didn't let everybody know. You need to follow us on social media. Facebook at RI Broadcasting. Rhode Island Broadcasting for Kick and YouTube, and RI_broadcasting on Twitch. I completely forgot at the beginning of the show. Also, if you want to follow us on the other socials, we are on everything. We are on TikTok, Kick, Space, Hey, MeWe, Blue Sky, Patreon, Twitter, X, RI Broadcasting or Broadcasting RI. So check us out there. Obviously, you can get some merch over at Patreon as well. So that is our show for today. I will be back, next week sometime. It sounds like you will not be back next Thursday. Speaker. So someone will be here next Thursday, but definitely check us out on Saturday when Lena and Ira are here. Yay. And again on Monday with Martin and whoever gets paired with him that day.
Yeah. Yay.
So good show, everybody. And
have a good weekend. See you when we see you.
Yeah, exactly.